All right, so this is kind of nerdy, but I feel like with retro handheld people, it's never too nerdy. So recently, a bunch of videos came out comparing the Miu A30 to the Anbernic RG28XX, those little guys. And they're both good options, but my problem was every major reviewer here in the handheld space, they seem to gloss over one major flaw of the A30, and that is that it's mono. And I don't just mean that it only has one speaker. That would be fine for like a little guy. But no, even when you use a USB-C adapter to aux, it's still mono. That's kind of insane. Like that should be a deal breaker. I mean, everything from the Game Boy to the Genesis, SNES, it was all designed with stereo in mind. So that should have been a deal breaker for pretty much all the reviewers, and yet no one really seemed to mind, which that was kind of crazy. That's why I wanted to share my thoughts on headphones for handhelds, because apparently like every big handheld reviewer just has no standards when it comes to sound. Like they didn't think that that's a big deal, this thing being mono. Shame. And so here is my headphone guide for handhelds, specifically like retro handhelds, but I guess it can apply to whatever. First off, if you don't mind carrying around wired headphones, that's probably going to be your best option, or at least your easiest option. I used to use a pair of IEMs for handheld gaming, and they sounded great. So for those who don't know, IEM stands for in-ear monitor, but over time that term has really just become synonymous with like hi-fi earbuds in general. They're all wired and have different uses. So originally an IEM was made for musicians to monitor themselves on stage. But ever since IEMs took off as this big collector hobby, they've started making IEMs that are more for just listening to music. And I get that, if you're not really into audio, the idea of headphones for listening to music might seem kind of strange to some folks. But no, really, there are like different use cases for different types of headphones and earbuds, and they're designed around that. For example, some headphones are made for mixing music, while others are made for DJing, and some are made for monitoring in noisy environments, and then some are just made to like just sound good, sound enjoyable. And that is a big difference, because if you're getting monitor headphones, these are not designed to necessarily sound good, they're designed to sound accurate, meaning you hear everything that's in it as clear as possible, but that doesn't always sound as good, believe it or not. That's why brands like Bose, Sony, Greedo, and others, they have these consumer lines that are based around having different sound signatures, just meaning they're tailored more for just having a pleasing sound that you can hear over a long period of time, as opposed to an accurate sound. If you use monitor headphones, it can sound quite a bit more shrill than listening headphones, and they're not nearly as like smooth, because these old systems like SNES, they were designed to be heard over crappy TV speakers, and they just don't have the type of dampening that you would want in a nice pair of headphones. Like old chiptune stuff can be absolutely piercing on a big chunky set of monitor cans. So I would say any type of consumer grade hi-fi listening headphones will be good. It all depends on what you're looking for. If you do go down the IEM path for portability, just be sure to check out Crinical's channel. This dude is a wizard. He's done frequency response graphs for like literally hundreds, if not thousands, of pairs of IEMs. He's more or less the go-to guy, even though he's starting to leave the space. But with that said, what if you want to go even more portable? What if you want to go wireless? So I used to carry around IEMs with me everywhere, but here's the thing, like it's not that nice to always have to unwire the thing, roll it around, and I'd have to carry around USB-C to aux adapter. Every time I would go into a store, I would have to take them out and then roll it up and stuff it back in my pocket. And if you're actually moving around and on the go quite a bit, IEMs don't always make the most sense. And most importantly, all wired headphones and earbuds, they don't have this one major feature that has become essential for anyone who lives in a city, and that is transparency mode. Transparency mode, or being able to hear what's around you mixed in with your music, is more or less essential if you're walking down the street or playing any game in public. I mean, if you're brave enough to pull out your gaming handheld on a bus or a train, you're basically painting a target on your back. People are gonna look at your system and someone might want to steal it. So to prevent this, you need to be more aware of your surroundings. You need to be able to hear someone's footsteps as they approach you. That's why, for me, I use the Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra earbuds, just for when I'm gaming, not just for the audio quality, which I do think is good, but it's because they have amazing transparency mode. And I know what you might be thinking because it's wireless. Hey, what about the lag? Don't worry, we're going to get to the lag in just a moment. I know that that's not really ideal, but to go back to the Quiet Comfort earbuds here, they have arguably the best transparency mode on the market. A lot of people who, even if they hate Bose, they still got to admit, they do know what they're doing when it comes to sound canceling and transparency. They have a ton of microphones on the outside of them, so it's really good in terms of just being aware of your surroundings. So, and I do think that they sound good. I know that that part is like super subjective. I understand that Bose is a very shady company and they charge a premium for their brand, but I can't help it. Like, despite all the bullcrap, I still think that Bose products sound great, paper cones and all. But again, that's just me. If you think Bose sounds like trash, more power to you, because I'd rather the money go to like any other company. But we're still talking about wireless here, so what's with the lag? The lag on Bluetooth is rough. I mean, other than being cheap bastards, that's really the reason why Nintendo didn't ship with Bluetooth on the Nintendo Switch, just because they probably hated the experience that it gave. And it's why new devices from Sony don't even have Bluetooth on them at all anymore. They use their own proprietary engine that's designed to work with their own earbuds, and yes, that is a very low latency way to do stuff, but that's just like the PS5 and the PlayStation Portal thing. What about everything else? Like, how are we going to get lag-free wireless for everything else? That's where you have a few different codecs to consider. And to be honest, like, none of them have really caught on the way that I wish that they had. The most popular codec for this stuff is aptX-LL. The LL in this case stands for low latency. That's what you want to look for, but the trouble is none of the big headphone manufacturers seem to support aptX-LL. And to make matters worse, none of the portable systems support broadcasting aptX-LL, and heck, most phones don't even support it. So it's just like, it's all right, this is the most popular low latency codec that we have, and almost nothing supports it to begin with. That's pretty terrible. And so the Bose Quiet Comfort Ultras, these ones do support aptX Adaptive LL. This is not the same thing as aptX LL. It's adaptive. It's different. They're not the same. I wish they were, trust me. Luckily, the new Creative BTW5, the little dongle thing, I know that supports aptX Adaptive LL. The only thing about it that I don't love is that you need to use a computer to change the codecs, and if you accidentally reset it while you're out and about, it will switch back to hi-fi as opposed to the low latency mode, which really sucks. So you want to be a little careful with it when you're out. Try not to reset it. You'll see that mine here has some Velcro on it. That's because I like to stick it to my actual earbuds. I never leave home without it. It's more or less always paired with my earbuds in my bag. But if you have a different pair of headphones or earbuds that support actual aptX LL, not aptX Adaptive LL, I would recommend the Genki Audio Lite. This thing is great. It's cheap, it's slim, and it just sounds good. In fact, even if you don't have fancy headphones with the right codec on them, if you play on Switch with any wireless, you should still probably get this, because the Bluetooth that's baked into the Switch, at least since the update, the audio quality is terrible. And this will still have lag, sure, but it will have a little bit less lag for you, and it will sound a heck of a lot better. But if you want the best audio quality and you can handle the bulkiness of the Creative BTW5, I gotta say, this thing sounds amazing, and it will work on just about anything with the USB-C port. So that means, pretty much all your retro handhelds are gonna work, your consoles, PS5 and whatnot. You're still gonna be out of luck if you're playing with something like a DS or a Vita. Don't worry, Vita, I still love you. We'll figure it out. There's some other adapters out there that will plug into an aux and then switch that to Bluetooth, but I don't really have experience with those, and to be honest, I don't know if I would trust them to have a very lag-free experience, but hey, who knows? Let me know in the comments if you know of a good solution better than this one. So that's what I recommend. That's what I use. If you take anything from this video, just know that like wireless low latency headsets, they do exist. They do work really good. They just take a bit more research to figure out what's going to work for you. It sucks that we have to carry around these little dongles just to get the stuff to work. You know, I would say that we should really be asking these retro manufacturers to support low latency audio codecs natively. Like they should be selling them with this built into it. You know, if you can build it into a phone, why can't you build it into a Retroid Pocket? You know, I'm not sure what the barriers are for that, but it's something that we should be asking for. We should be trying to raise the standards for this stuff, especially since it seems like there's a new handheld coming out every other week. You know, why not improve in this way? And so with that same train of thought, for the love of God, if Ambernick or anyone else tries to come out with another device that has forced mono, it only supports mono, we shouldn't let them get away with that. We should at least have like some standards, guys. Come on, don't be a bum.